Good morning, I'm Kenneth Moten.
And I'm Janae Norman. Here are the top 5 things to know this Wednesday. Number 1, new devastation in the Midwest after more than 30 tornadoes touching down across the plains.
But now an even bigger concern for the region is the life-threatening floods. Floodwaters have already inundated communities, forcing numerous high-water rescues. The powerful system even closing a major airport.
And the conditions got worse overnight, with at least 3 deaths now blamed on the storms.
Number 2, the White House is on the defensive after an internal poll reportedly shows President Trump losing in key battleground states. The president's campaign manager took to Twitter to blast the report, saying that polling this far ahead of the election is, quote, pointless.
Meanwhile, the president himself is getting ready to host top Democrats at the White House today to discuss a new infrastructure plan. But in a letter sent to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Trump said Congress should replace NAFTA before passing a bill to fix the nation's roads and bridges. On to number 3 now, breaking overnight, yet another small plane crash in Alaska.
A single-engine Cessna like this one crashed into Prince William Sound. The 3 people on board were rescued by the Coast Guard and were flown for medical treatment.
This incident follows 2 deadly float plane crashes in recent days. The carrier involved in those 2 crashes has suspended operations.
Number 4, McDonald's says it will begin new harassment training for workers and offer a hotline to report abuse in the wake of a slew of sexual harassment claims.
More than 24 female employees filed complaints against the company, claiming they'd been assaulted, harassed, or suffered gender-based discrimination. One young woman claims she was harassed by a manager when she was just 16 years old.
This is the 3rd round of complaints brought on by McDonald's workers in recent years.
And finally, number 5 now, 34 years after it fizzled, new Coke is popping back on the scene.
The less than popular drink is being revived thanks to season 3 of Netflix Stranger Things. The show will feature some of 1985's top stories, including new Coke's disastrous debut.
In honor of the plotline, Coke is releasing a limited edition of the drink made with the original formula. The soda goes on sale tomorrow. You gonna be popping bottles of that one?
You know what?
What?
New Coke is better than old Coke.
I guess so. It's morning, America.
Good morning, everyone. New
Good
Coke.
morning.
New Coke, who dis? So we've got some trivia for our question of the day. How long did New Coke last the first time around?
And now, if you were paying attention, we already told you, but don't rewind, don't rewind. Was it 33 days?
A.
79 days?
B.
108 days?
C.
10,085 days. Tell us in the comments. What? It's multiple choice.
That's
and
D.
no Googling. We'll tell you the answer at the end of the show.
All right, let's move on to our big story in Washington and the growing split among Democrats over impeachment as they issue a new round of subpoenas of former members of the Trump administration. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is holding a meeting today aimed at tamping down calls for impeachment, but some members of her party are running out of patience with President Trump, stonewalling their efforts to get to the bottom of the Mueller report.
This comes as we learn about a new poll that reportedly shows the president falling behind in some key battleground states. ABC's Mona Kosar-Abdi has more from Washington this morning. Hey, Mona.
Good morning, Janae. Good morning, Kenneth. It's a constitutional power struggle between 2 branches of government. And for Democrats, the impeachment debate gets more complicated as 2020 inches closer.
Democrats faced with a dilemma as President Trump holds true to his vow to fight all congressional subpoenas. The situation growing more complicated after the White House instructed former counsel Don McGahn to defy a subpoena. Chairman Jerry Nadler now threatening to hold McGahn in contempt of Congress.
Our subpoenas are not optional.
On Twitter, President Trump fired back, blasting Democrats for what he called a, quote, fishing expedition.
This committee will hear Mr. McGahn's testimony, even if we have to go to court to secure it.
But Nadler not deterred by the stonewalling, issuing 2 more subpoenas to former White House Communications Director Hope Hicks and another aide. A growing number of Democrats now saying that's not enough and are urging party leaders to begin an impeachment inquiry against the president. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, caught in the middle, will meet with members today to push for investigations over impeachment.
Madam Speaker, are you under increased pressure to impeach the president from your caucus?
No.
Today, Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer are set to meet with the president to discuss a pending bipartisan infrastructure deal. But overnight, President Trump shifted gears, demanding his new trade pact with Mexico and Canada come first.
President Trump also looking ahead to 2020. The Trump team dismissing reports that an internal poll showed the president losing in key battleground states. Sources tell ABC News the results surprised some members of Team Trump, particularly in states like Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Janae, Kenneth?
The president's campaign manager saying that polls at this point in the stage of the game are pointless.
Yep.
All right, Mona, thank you. We appreciate it.
Well, a day after getting campaign help from President Trump, Central Pennsylvania Republican Fred Keller has won his congressional race. He beat Democrat Mark Friedenberg by nearly 40 percentage points in a special election for the heavily GOP district. Keller replaces Republican Tom Marino, who resigned in January due to health reasons.
Housing Secretary Ben Carson is trying to make light of a bizarre exchange at a congressional hearing where he appeared to be stumped by a standard real estate abbreviation. Carson said he's sending freshman Congresswoman Katie Porter a package of Oreos after he appeared to confuse the word Oreo, yep, the cookie, with the acronym REO, which refers to real estate-owned properties or foreclosed homes.
I'd also like you to get back to me, if you don't mind, to explain the disparity in REO rates. Do you know what an REO is?
An Oreo?
No, not an Oreo, an REO. REO.
Real estate?
What's the O stand for?
Carson is also facing criticism for his response to another congresswoman over public housing. New York Democrat Nadia Velasquez described Carson's budget as shameful and immoral, saying it didn't include enough money to address the nation's housing crisis. Carson told her, "We have to use our brains and think logically rather than just emotionally."
Interesting comments there. Just as the busiest summer air travel season ever is about to begin, the TSA is having trouble finding and keeping security screeners. The chair of a congressional subcommittee calls the turnover unbelievable. The union representing the TSA workers says the pay is low and the rewards for good work are few. Both airlines and airports are now worried the result will be long lines and inadequate security.
That historic and recent government shutdown likely also did not help. We're learning about some incredible generosity for the people of Paradise, California.
The town was severely damaged by a massive wildfire last November, but that didn't stop the local high school seniors from having their prom last weekend. And this has some good news. The tuxedos were free for the guys, and Estee Lauder sent dozens of makeup artists to help the young ladies.
Another big highlight for this prom, the playing of a 30-second videos sent by actors, musicians, and pro athletes. They all wished the kids well and told them to follow their dreams. Pretty cool there. Well, coming up, more controversy for the state of Alabama.
This time over the decision to pull a cartoon episode about same-sex marriage. The reasons why and the backlash after this.
Let's check our notifications. Will Gans has the best of today's stories trending on social media. Good morning, Will.
That's right. I feel like the belle of the ball. Get it?
I get that.
The bell?
Good one.
All right. Well, a lucky sixth grader just got some major extra credit thanks to an NFL star. When Texans defensive end J.J. Watt isn't earning $16 million a year for tossing around a pigskin, he's apparently being a pal to some of his biggest fans. When sixth grade teacher Paula Triple tweeted out a photo of her students' class project, which included a celebrity endorsement from Watt, the football star couldn't resist creating his own mock commercial.
And only one bag a day gives you all the energy you need for the whole day. They keep me hype. Wow, and they're delicious. Wow, does feel like I'm getting more energy. Should probably eat one. Let's go!
Let's go. Triple later noted that she gave her student an A on the project. Talk about calling in some reinforcements, right? To help your grade get a little boost.
You know what? And he deserves an A. That was epic.
That's so epic, and it's cool now that we get to see it. I'm sure he's graduating at the top of his class this summer as well. But now let's move on to an epic proposal video on top of a volcano. The couple has a travel blog together called Our Moving Roots.
And then we know that they made a hike to the top of that volcano. As you see the ring there, something big is about to happen. They get to the top of it, and that's when, down to a knee, the proposal happens. Oh my God, Will, Is there anything more magical in this moment?
Okay, well, I mean, all I'm saying is it's hard for me to get a text back and they're getting drone footage at the top of a volcano. I mean, there is no hope.
It's
for
pretty
the rest.
impressive.
It is pretty impressive. It is.
Let's move down to Florida.
All right, let's do it. Why not? A newly released 911 call reveals the moment a Florida mom at home with her 2 kids woke up to the sounds of someone in her car outside. But bear with us, because this isn't your typical smash and grab.
Somebody is outside in the car right outside of our bedroom window, blaring on the horn.
A Florida mom jolting awake in the middle of the night to the sounds of someone in her car outside.
They're opening and closing doors. If the deputy can hurry up, if we have a...
They're coming to you, lights and sirens.
Lights and sirens on the ground, and overhead?
Do you hear the helicopter? I have the helicopter in the area as well.
Finally, police arriving to find the family's white Ford Explorer totally ransacked, and the culprits still at the scene of the crime.
So it looks like it's a family of bears that decided to open your car.
No way.
Yes way. And despite the officer's request that the barbarians surrender with their paws up, the furry family making a quick getaway. Until the next day when they returned to the scene of the crime and tried the family's other car. Luckily, the doors were locked this go-around. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but you already know filing that insurance claim is going to be unbearable.
Oh, you know what? You can ring the bell on that one. That was a good one. Ding, ding, ding. It's right behind you. Hey, thanks, Will Gans. We appreciate it.
Of course.
And now to that controversy surrounding the popular kids show Arthur. Alabama Public Television has refused to air an episode of the cartoon because it features a same-sex wedding. The station is defending its decision amid a growing backlash. This morning, a children's cartoon at the center of controversy. Alabama Public TV is refusing to broadcast an episode of Arthur that depicted the same-sex wedding of one of its most popular characters.
Who's getting married?
Me.
In the first episode of the show's 22nd season, Mr. Ratburn, Arthur's teacher, marries his partner, to the surprise of his students who didn't know he's gay.
Mr. Ratburn is married. I still can't believe it. Yep, it's a brand new world.
The episode titled Mr. Ratburn and the Special Someone already aired on PBS stations nationwide. But Arthur fans in Alabama saw a rerun of a different episode instead. The director of programming at Alabama Public Television said, although we strongly encourage parents to watch television with their children and talk about what they have learned afterwards, parents trust that their children can watch Alabama Public Television without their supervision. He went on to say the vast majority of parents will not have heard about the content, whether they agree with it or not. Because of this, we felt it would be a violation of trust to broadcast the episode. In a tweet, the gay rights organization GLAAD slammed the decision, writing, LGBTQ people exist in every part of life, so the claim that someone could be too young to know that LGBTQ people exist is absurd and sends a dangerous message to LGBTQ youth. The show's creator says he's disappointed with the decision in Alabama. He calls the episode a teaching moment.
The more we talked about it, the more we saw it as an opportunity for a learning experience and this great way to represent another part of life that so seldom gets portrayed on television. I would hate to live in a world that was sanitized and censored, and that's really something that I can't get behind.
You saw the two characters walking down the aisle, but critics of the decision point to the fact the episode never really shows an actual marriage ceremony. This isn't the first time Alabama Public TV has pulled an episode of Arthur. In 2005, it refused to air an episode about a character with two mothers. All right, well, let's go across the pond now to Julia McFarlane and the London Bureau to talk about our favorite topic, Brexit. Take it away, Julia.
Hey, Kenneth. So I don't know when the last time we revisited Brexit, but there's not much to update in the sense that things are still going a little bit pear-shaped. But latest in developments is Prime Minister Theresa May. She outlined her latest Brexit plan yesterday. It didn't go so well. So you may remember that Britain has come up with a withdrawal agreement for how it's going to leave Europe. It's agreed that with all 27 other members of the European Union. But those 27 countries have come to an agreement far easier than British politicians amongst themselves. I just want to show you how Theresa May's latest idea has gone down in the British press. Look at that. Desperate, deluded, doomed, says The Telegraph. you'll be gone in the morning with a very flattering picture of Theresa May looking slightly worse for wear there. Theresa gambled too far, besieged May's last hurrah. I mean, it is just all over the papers that Theresa May is really on her last legs because her final attempt at getting this deal passed in Parliament is just reaching complete opposition from all sides, including from her own party, who are now really looking set to try and oust her.
I think a few people would say it's not going very well for May. But
really,
this is going well, I guess, because there's a new record for climbing Mount Everest, breaking the one set just a week ago by the same guide.
This is incredible. So this is a story of a Nepalese Sherpa who's broken his own record for summiting Mount Everest. He's 49 years old. He's done it for the second time in a week. I don't know how productive you've been this week. I was meant to go for a run like 10 days ago. I still haven't managed to fit that in. But this guy has summited Everest twice in the same amount of time. And he says that, although he's 49, he says he can still carry on climbing for a few more years. I'm healthy, can keep going until I'm 60 years old with oxygen. It's no big deal. Now, how does that make you feel for the state of your...
You know what? I need to go for a run as well because
I think I need to go
to point
for a
out
run,
something you said earlier, I don't want to be pear-shaped. So we don't want any of that.
Yeah, I mean, how's that for motivation? It's just extraordinary. He first climbed Everest in 1994, and he helps people summit the mountain. I mean, yeah, I get out of breath walking up the stairs, so
yeah,
that's nice. How's that to make you feel good about yourself?
Exactly. Well, this actually does make me feel good. This next one about a true rags to riches story. This man in England, he was struggling to pay his bills one moment, and he's a millionaire overnight, essentially.
This is amazing. So this guy in the UK, he's 31 years old. He managed to find out that he is the son of a wealthy aristocrat who died recently, and he got a DNA test to prove that he is a son. So that means he's the rightful heir to this huge fortune, this massive, massive estate, this gorgeous country house, which is worth sort of $63 million. He now has funds from a family trust that gives him that gives him an annual income of about $60,000 a year. You know, and he's been talking to the Sun and the Daily Mail about inheriting this, you know, this 1,500-acre estate in Cornwall, in a beautiful part of England, and you know, this has really changed his life overnight. And he's moved in with his girlfriend, and they've just had a wee baby. And it's really interesting because he's been posting on Instagram little snapshots of his new life. There he is with his partner on a yacht holiday. He's got a new car. He's got a Mercedes. He's now getting used to the fact that his circumstances have completely changed overnight. And you know, but he said that it's bittersweet because, you know, he never really knew his father, right. And he'd have loved to have just gotten to know him.
This is an incredible story. Any chance you get the airing of Maury Povich over there across the pond?
You get the what, sorry?
Maury Povich. So if I say to you, you are the father, you're not going to get that. It's a very popular show. You should look it up.
When you say, like, you are the father, that just makes me think of, like, Luke Skywalker, I am your father.
That's a good one as well.
Going on.
But trust me, you want to go Google Maury Povich across the pond there. It's good stuff. All right, my friend, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Go for that run.
Kenneth.
You'll feel better.
You too, mate.
All right, well, coming up, we're talking about a serious overachiever, the 17-year-old set to graduate from Harvard just days after finishing high school. After this.
Here's what to watch out for today. The results of the investigation into Virginia Governor Ralph Northam's yearbook are set to be released. The lawmakers' medical school launched the probe about school culture and procedures used to pick photos after a blackface image surfaced on his page. Northam maintains that it is not him in the photo.
And President Trump will meet with congressional Democrats to discuss infrastructure. The two sides came to an agreement just weeks ago to spend $2 trillion on a big and bold infrastructure plan, as the president has called it. But the president is now demanding Congress pass his new trade agreement with Mexico and Canada before moving on. to infrastructure. Plus, don't forget to tune into The Debrief for an update on all our top stories and the briefing room for a breakdown of the latest headlines in politics.
So you know what I love about this time of year?
What?
All the great graduation stories.
Oh, yes. Especially that Morehouse story I'm still thinking about.
Love that one.
But we've got another great one for you. Gans, talk to this graduate who is doing some big things.
Oh, yeah. Not just one, but two. Double the fun, double the graduation parties, I guess, if you will. Braxton Morrill is set to pick up his degree from Harvard just 11 days after graduating high school. We spoke with the Kansas teen whose extracurriculars include overachieving and making the rest of us look like slackers.
Like most 17-year-olds, Braxton Morrill feels good about graduating high school.
I'm feeling pretty great. I'm excited.
But his grad party is going to be twice the celebration this year because he's getting a degree from Harvard less than 2 weeks later. How'd he manage that?
The high school was very nice, and they allowed me to take a couple hours each day to work on some of Harvard's curriculum.
For the past 5.5 years, Braxton splitting his time from your typical junior high and high school English classes and his favorite from the Harvard curriculum, ancient Greek hero on the classic epics and mythology. As you'd expect, that's not totally easy for a 17-year-old to manage.
So I don't think it was the workload. I think the most difficult thing is just keeping focus throughout the entire, 5.5 year span.
Braxton's mom and dad, so proud, but his fellow high schoolers?
They think I am a dork. They're with me. They keep me grounded.
Aside from that whole Harvard degree thing, Braxton's like most of his peers, enjoying video games, sports, movies. But his recipe for success is anything but ordinary.
I think the most important thing is just visualizing success even when you're not succeeding.
When asked if this incredible academic has any final words of wisdom to impart, here's what Braxton had to say.
You don't want to ask me what products I use for my hair or anything like that?
Braxton's next stop is law school to study constitutional law, but I told him he might have a career as a comedian if that whole law thing doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So he's smart, he's a comedian, and he's got a heck of a head of hair.
Oh, yeah.
Great hair.
Oh, yeah. Justin Bieber who?
Right? We're big fans of Braxton. Congrats to him.
We are.
To all the grads who are graduating this month.
The class of 2019.
Hey.
The future.
Thanks, all right, now it's time to answer the question of the day. We asked how long New Coke lasted when it debuted way back in 1985. The answer?
79 days. Woo! If you got that, pick up your gift certificate in the back. Oh, no, there's no gift certificate.
There isn't any. Nothing.
Right. There's nothing in the back.
But thanks for playing.
We appreciate it.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good one.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.